All right, thanks guys. Thanks for joining me. My name is Lorie Schenck. I'm with SAP, in case you missed that little back and forth a few minutes ago. I am the product owner for the Micro Focus portfolio of solution extensions. It's a mouthful at SAP. So I work directly globally with our customers, our account executives, sales engineers, whoever needs to do something around the Micro Focus portfolio. So today what I wanted to talk to you about is global data protection regulation and some of the tools that are available within the Micro Focus portfolio to help you with that. How many of you guys are facing GDPR? Yeah, so quite a few of you. So I'm not here to tell you what global data protection is all about. What I wanted to point out on this slide was there's a constant here, and that is the controller. And the controller has responsibilities within the guidelines of the regulation, so they are responsible. So as you guys are starting to talk within your organizations about managing GDPR, you need to be able to provide the controller with the ability to do all of these things that are, and these are just a couple of the articles that I picked out as being the most important, at least from a Micro Focus solution set, and that is that there's a whole article just on their responsibilities. So in order for the controller to be successful in meeting GDPR, you're going to have to provide them with a framework, an ability to report, an ability to be able to track, and so that's what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit here. So the solutions that we resell at SAP that are Micro Focus are, of course, the SAP Quality Center by Micro Focus, and we have both the Enterprise Edition and something we call the Premier Edition, which is ALM. We also offer Octane. We have SAP Fortify by Micro Focus. How many people have heard about Fortify? Oh, good. Okay, a couple people. So this is the application layer and code scanning. So to help you with the data by design. So if you look up under Article 24, data protection by design and by default. So if your current software development lifecycle does not include a check for software security vulnerabilities during design, that should be a hot button for you. So you need to start thinking about how are you going to build that into your SDLC and provide that reporting back to the controller so that they can meet Article 24, because now it has to be built in as part of the design, which means from a testing perspective, right? During unit testing, we need to be checking. During our integration testing, we need to be checking. So we need to have a way to be able to virtualize services and be able to test and look for security vulnerabilities and reduce those and make sure that the controller has that information so that they can meet the requirements. And then the last one, of course, is Loadrunner. You heard the announcement yesterday with the C4 HANA, and you heard Bill and some of the other people talking about performance. So performance is still as important today as it was back in the old days when we were running ERP. And SAP Loadrunner by Micro Focus and Performance Center are still around, and SAP uses them internally, and we still strongly support them for our customers to use that to make sure that you meet those key performance indicators, right? Because that's generally part of the business case for whatever type of innovation you're doing in the first place, regardless of GDPR. So you need to have these tools. We believe in these tools, and we believe you need to have them in order to be able to meet your requirements. So what does Micro Focus do for you? So Micro Focus has this great add-on, and here's a surprise, it's free. So you're not going to hear that a lot here on the show floor today or this week at Sapphire, but this is a free add-on. So how many people already own Quality Center, either Enterprise or ALM? Yeah, you guys do. I know you guys do. You guys, and who are you with? Who are you with? What company? Arthrix. Okay, great. So you can download this today from the Micro Focus website, And inside, it's an Excel-based add-on. It has the complete regulation inside of it. So this is what I want to walk you through today, just to give you kind of a high level and pique your interest. If you don't currently own Quality Center or you want to talk with us about testing, we'll be here afterwards. You can come see us over here in the booth, or we'll be happy to meet with you. You come and talk to me. We've got a couple of colleagues back here as well, and we can set up some time to talk with you about your testing strategy. So when you download this, there's 1,064 requirements. So if you think that you can manage all these requirements on your own, I would say why bother? Download this information. It will download it. It brings it right into ALM or Octane for you so that you can manage it from here, which means your controller can manage it from here. It's also customizable so that you can drive by requirement where it is. This is an example of the GDPR definition of this term that I can never say, so I'm just going to say anonymization, because for some reason I can say anonymization, but I can't say whatever that is. But you know what it means. It means taking data that's sensitive and changing it so that you can test it, and people don't know how much everybody makes when they're doing an HR project, for example. Right? So there is a requirement in GDPR around this. So if you don't have a tool that does this, you need one. And you need to be able to track how it was done. And then there's another piece where you can actually list out the products that can help you do that. So within the tool itself, it'll tell you what other products are available to you from Micro Focus that can help you do the anonymization of data. Okay? If I'm the controller and I want to look for a certain set of requirements, how am I going to do that? So within this document, you can actually do that. You can search for items. You can do searches for all items. You can do just certain things like by class or by tests or by defect. Perhaps you're an agile framework, you're going to have epics. You can do that as well. So you can search, you can filter your requirements by product. You can even customize tags and different things so that you can tag your products that support the various requirements or your system so that you can actually do searches by your business process, for example, or however you're classifying your solutions so that you can put together custom reports that say these finance requirements are supported by these solutions, and then you can drill down into those solutions all from ALM Octane. And then there's also the ability to tag and put in additional products. So you can either use tags for yourself or you can use the ones that come with this, and it would recommend Micro Focus products that would help you do that. Now this is following. So if you have teams who are working or responsible for certain requirements and you need to be notified, so it's kind of like workflow, you can just follow a requirement, you can follow a detail, you can follow the GDPR requirement so that you're always notified whenever there's an update or a change. So if you're the person who's responsible for data and the anonymization of data, you would want to make sure that you follow the entire article, the entire requirement, and that way you would get updated anytime somebody goes in and makes a change or does some work with these objects. Requirements get linked back to, you can have relationships, you can have children, you can have tests, you can have defects, you can have attachments. So there's a really great way that you can link all of these things together and then be able to report on them as you're walking through. So imagine you're the controller and you're responsible for the 1,064 requirements. So you begin to see, and we're only looking at one requirement, and this is the anonymization of data, right? So imagine that you've got to be able to do some reporting quarterly, or you get some kind of an announcement from the regulator that you have violated something, and you need to go in there and start pulling things apart and figuring out what happened, who did it, and how do you get through it. So you begin to see that you need to have a strategy on how you're going to use this so that you can link the different regulations to the different items and make that a responsibility of the people who are working in the ALM tool, right? So that when you need the information, you can get it and report on it, print off the reports and be able to respond quickly, because part of the regulation is that you have to respond within a certain time frame or you lose the ability to respond and the fines are just levied. So you want to avoid that. Nobody wants to get any of the fines, right? So this will create an audit trail automatically by ALM and Octane for you. So in the history, it keeps track of who did it. So everybody has a user ID. So the same types of feature functions are available within setting up users and personas within ALM as it is for ALM just in general. So it'll always track who did what and how they changed it. So you'll always have this audit trail so that you can, search for the guilty. When it was done, so it timestamps it. Who did it? What was done? And then this is where you can download it. So if you go out to the marketplace at Micro Focus, you'll see the GDPR content pack, and you can download this for free. So I wanted to give a couple of minutes here. I think I've only got like 5 minutes left, right? A couple minutes? Okay. So are there any questions? Do you have any questions about this? How many people have a test strategy today? Now, come on, somebody's got to have a test strategy. What are you doing for testing? No? You don't do testing? No. Well, I'll tell you, when I did my first SAP project, we did testing all manually. We did it on pieces of paper, right? We wrote them out. Most of the time, we didn't have the business definition documents that we had written when we wrote up the original, what the requirements were. They were somewhere, but they were on paper someplace, and they were approved and signed and stuck in a banker's box and stored in a war room someplace. And so the people who did all the configuration just kind of drafted test cases based on what we did. Yeah, you get it. So we just kind of did that, and then we wrote up the test cases. Then we did the testing, and we would get the test signed off, and if there were defects, we had another document. And so those documents would go in another set of banker's boxes. And so we'd have these rooms full of banker's boxes. And after we went live, somebody would say, well, wait a minute, something's not working. We've got a problem. Now, where's the original test case and the original test data? How do we find it? And how do we know what we tested the first time to know that our fix didn't break it? In other words, regression testing. So how did we do all that? I mean, we basically just... so change management and change control was crazy for us after we went live. So if you don't have a test strategy, I highly urge you to come talk with us about how you can get one and there's some great tools that are out there. SAP has a methodology called Activate that has test strategy tools built into it that can help you start to define that. We're happy to come and talk to you and help you define what your test strategy is. We'll come out to your company, we'll talk with you, we'll help you do that, and we're more than happy to help solve some of these problems that you might have. And if you have GDPR, it's getting to be too late. Right now it's active. You're going to start getting letters pretty soon. So if you have any of these issues, please reach out to us. Come right around the corner here, and we'll be happy to talk to you. Okay?
Thanks, Lorie.
Thank you. Thanks, Russ.
Fantastic.